So yesterday we talked about exponents and how to write them and how to use expanded form and what each of them meant. So today we're going to learn how to read them and also how to find the value for each of the problems. So right here what we're doing, we're reading the exponents. So there's several of them that you could read them in a special way, and then there's a few that you would need to know how to value them. So this is the first part. So go ahead and make sure you're taking notes. You are going to do this in your assignment too. So make sure that you are doing what I do, or you write down what I do. So here is what we're doing now. So when you are given 3 and then with a small 7, we read it as 3 to the 7th power. So that's how we would read exponents. So if you were given 5 and then small 9, we read it as 5 to the 9th power. Okay. So when you're giving 4 and the small 2, we read it as 4 to the 2nd power. Or you read it as 4 squared. Now if you think about it, hold on, I ran out of room. So if you think about it, when you say 4 squared, basically you're talking about a square. So that means that a square has the sides equal to 4. So when you do 4 times 4 is the same as 4 to the 2nd power, which is 4 squared, because it creates a square. So that's why we call that. Now when you are given 6 with a small 3, we read it as, and I'm going to change the color so you won't get too confused with the top, 3 to the 3rd power, oops, or 3 cubed. And the reason we say cubed is because if you think about it and you have a 3D shape, you would have to multiply 6 times 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 times 6 is going to give you 6 to the 3rd power, which is the same as 6 cubed. Okay, so when you're writing your answer, you're just writing what I wrote on the lines. You don't need to write what I wrote under it. So basically, those two exponents have special names. So we could read it as 2nd power, but most of the time you're hearing me saying it squared or cubed. So if I want to use 3 squared, I'm actually saying 3 to the 2nd power. If I want to say 10 cubed, then I'm actually saying 10 to the 3rd power. So make sure you remember that, because those are special names that they have, and that's what I'll be using. And you'll be using this squared and cubed when we go into geometry. So then the next one, when you're given 7 with a 1, we read it as 7, let me put blue, 7 to the 1st power. And the value is going to be 7, because it's just telling you you're writing 7 one time. So 7 is the factor, so it's one time. So make sure you do that. And then when you're given 9 with a 0, we read it as 9 to the 0 power. And the value is going to be 1. And that means that because you're not multiplying anything, that's going to be the value of 1. So make sure you're understanding how to write each of those, how to read them. You need to know how to write them. Make sure you're putting to the 1st power, 3rd power, whatever it is. But you know how to read them, and then you're going to have some practice on the next one. So if you don't remember how to do the practice, come back and watch this video again.